all wired up. Mic's working. All checks complete. Pre-workout has been consumed. I was a little bit on the sleepier side earlier because I had a bit of a nap. So instead of just one scoop of the Hostility Blue Shark Gummy, which it's got about 300 milligrams of caffeine, I upped it just a touch. I wouldn't say I'm really a stim junkie per se. Like, for most lifts, I stay right around probably 200, 300. But every so often, I might just do a little extra. I think when you get into, 500 every lift, you may have sort of lost track of the point of using the caffeine as a tool for the workout. And you're kind of just dipping into becoming maybe not overstimulated per se, but you're just using it to a degree which just isn't really necessary. I'm not you. I mean, maybe if you take 200 milligrams of caffeine, you just don't feel anything. It doesn't do anything for you. But it could be maybe not a downward spiral, but just kind of a self-fueling progression of more and more and more and more and more. Like, okay, I haven't been feeling 2 scoops as of late. Let's make it 3. Okay, today's going to be a crazy lift. Let's make it 4. I just don't think it's necessary. And one thing that kind of gets me too is I feel like the videos I see of people talking about taking, 3, 4, however many scoops of pre-workout, which taking extra doses of like the citrulline and the pump ingredients, it's not going to change their effectiveness. There's pretty much a maximum absorption, which 6 grams of so-and-so, you get the most out of it. And then any more, it's like, you don't really get any improved benefits. But for one thing, yeah, the dudes doing that are like, I'd say kind of early on lifters, where you're most, maybe not you, but I'm just saying lifters in general. The year 1, the year 2 dude, they are most susceptible to, let's just call it flashiness, right? Okay, I want this to be a sweet workout. I better take extra pre-workout. I better take extra caffeine. Oh, I better stuff like that. Even though it's just the wrong way to go about it, That kind of stuff in excess, it's not going to do anything for you except for make you buy more more frequently and just end up wasting money, So that's my little rant there. Take your scoop, maybe get into the 2 scoop range. And then I guess if you really want more caffeine, don't just add more scoops of your pre and waste all the pump ingredients, just having them get flushed through your system without giving you any more, benefits. Buy a bottle of pure calf hostile caffeine capsules. You know, not only for potentially just adding caffeine to whatever amount of pre-workout that you're doing, but for me, when I wake up in the morning, I'm not really a coffee dude. I'm not gonna sit here and cold brew, French press some mild roasted beans. I'm just gonna take a caffeine capsule, 200 milligrams pre-workout, well, pre-cardio, and then I'm on my way. And then I am on my freaking way. So that's enough of that little caffeine pre-workout rant. Plan for the lift is chest annihilation. Oh, it doesn't really. I was trying to combine chest with the word genocide, but it doesn't really jive. But either way, chest, I feel nice and well rested, very full, get a lot of fluids in my system and carbs. I'd be lying to you if I was in possession of a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts earlier in today, and now my trash can is in possession of an empty box. Right? I'd be lying to you if I said that wasn't the case. So I got carbs out the wazoo in me, and I'm ready to use them. Use all that ATP, glycogen, whatever, to get as freaky of a chest pump as possible. So, only downside, I actually would have gone to a different gym. I would have gone to the Anytime, but I lost my key card, and they're not staffed today, so I have to go in tomorrow and get a new one, which that's on me. That's on me. Not ideal. So 6:15, the only other gyms in my vicinity that are open, apart from the Sulik Basement Gym, open 24 hours, of course, is Planet Fitness, which depends on how you look at it. But for me, Planet Fitness has always been sweet. I'm just a little bit more constrained in what I've got access to. Like for chest, obviously, no dumbbells, no incline barbell. I mean, there's 75s, but for chest, that's just not enough. At a certain point, I mean, you do need dumbbells to a specific weight. But Smith machine, throw some plates on there, sweet. Cable flies, cable presses. Maybe I'll do kind of a funky cable press where I roll a bench over and I have it on an incline and I'm kind of going like this. It's kind of cool. But, pec deck is basic shit. By the time I've finished maybe 3 or 4 good sets of Smith, move on to really whatever. I don't even know what the workout's going to be. It'll kind of be probably, apart from the main movement, which I am locked in, I want to do incline Smith machine first. So if all the Smith machines are taken, I'll wait a few minutes for it while I'm warming up. But after that, open to interpretation. Maybe if I want to do cables but they're taken, I'll move on to pec deck, or vice versa, or maybe whatever. Maybe for whatever reason, incline Smith is going to feel so good that I'll just want to do the whole lift there and not even leave the bench. Could very well happen. I've had a lot of lifts that ended up being that simple. I'm not going to say that's the best case scenario for all your lifts, of course, but if you're doing biceps and you start doing a couple sets of alternating dumbbell curls and they just feel sick, like good squeeze, you're nice and strong, you're seriously fucking getting pumped up. I mean, if they feel good enough, why would I want to leave and do anything else? If something for whatever reason is just hitting you just right, getting right in the bullseye, the X factor is factoring, right? Just spam whatever that is. So if Smith machine is just sick, that's where I'll stay. But more likely than not, I'll be satisfied after 3 or 4 sets and I'll want to move on to more squeezing movements. That's pretty much how all my chest days look. Like, even though I sound pretty nonchalant, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go in and do whatever. I'll do whatever I feel like. It's within the constraint of following a basic skeleton of the workout. I have one for every lift, pretty much, if I had to put it on paper and describe it. But I'll just do it for chest now. So, if this is the workout for chest, right? This portion right here, the beginning, I guess that's backwards. This portion right here, the beginning, is heavy pressing. That may be dumbbell, that may be barbell, maybe Smith machine. I don't really start with machine press that often. Even if I have access to a incline hammer strength press, I still usually start off with those big 3. Either incline dumbbell, Smith, or barbell. Now once these are done, move on to, the rest of the workout is pretty much up to whatever. I could do flies, I could do more lighter pressing, I could just whatever. Another 4 or 5 hard sets, as long as they're hitting my chest, and I finish with a pump. Guess what? I'm gonna be satisfied. I'm gonna be freaking honky-dory after that. And as long as I can go into the locker room, whip the pump cover off and say, oh my goodness gracious, look at that insane pectoral pump, then I'm gonna be a happy camper. So, doesn't look too busy. Let's just get in there and get started. Okay, let's discuss after this first set. I'm already pretty much in the zone. All right, that's fucked up. Right pec, or no, left pec. Felt a little something. Instant stoppage of the set. I gotta assess the damage. Not ideal. Did the title of this video say chest? I'm pretty sure it was supposed to say back. Yeah, not ideal, certainly. So not hospital level pull, not incapacitating level injury, but from the hole on the way up of that last rep, I could feel this kind of burning sensation right in here. And anybody that's sort of lifted for long enough and kind of has experienced a little bit of a muscle pull, I'm not talking about a whole ass tear, but like you definitely did a little bit of damage, then oof. Fuck. I've done that before, and then I've done like an extra 2 or 3 reps trying to just push through it, acting as if I wasn't fucking hurt. And it has given me a little bit of a roadblock beforehand. So can't be predicted. The warm-up sets felt sweet. 1 plate for like 10, 2 plates for 6, 3 plates for 3, 3 plates and a 25 for 2. And those first couple reps of 4 or 5, that was light. I was feeling nice and carved up. Maybe that's my cue that I gotta use lighter weight. So if just based on my prediction, I'd say, well, obviously no more chest today, of course. For me to do even, like, I kind of wanted to limp through a scrappy cable chest workout just to kind of get a pump, but no, that's just, yeah, it's foolish. That's stupid. So instead, I'm not just gonna go home. I'll just do back. So I'd say chest will be back pretty soon. You know, a lot of food, good rest. Something like this, not really gonna totally destroy me, but just another word of the wise. As soon as something feels off, take your foot off the brakes immediately. Freaking immediately. So I've already done my whole back warm up after doing the chest warm up. So I'm gonna start with cable rows. Nothing else to say. Okay. A few more here. Okay. One more. Okay. I think 3 here is enough. Let's move on to something. Not sure. All right, I think another rowing movement. So this machine is cool. I wish it was a little bit heavier, but I don't love doing both hands at once. I feel like a lot of the time, even though I love chest supported rows, it kind of just smushes my fucking chest. Makes it sort of hard to breathe. So it feels better for me to just do one side at a time and kind of maintain more of a, let's just call it an open airway. But left side first, you know, failure, partials, you get the gist. Okay. All right. One more, but non-pause reps. This next set will just be, more burnout style. Okay. Okay. Let's I know what we're doing next. You'll just get to find out. A lot of rows. A lot of rows this back day. Not that I'm complaining. I like the way it feels. So this will be kind of I don't know, I almost feel like this is a two-part movement. So the first half is a bit more lat biased. When I bend forward and I really stretch, I mean, that just looks like a pull down. But as I come down, I'm not just gonna stay right here. I'm gonna lean back and get a little bit more mid upper back activation. I usually like doing this kind of movement towards the end of back, just because I'm kind of working the whole thing. Whereas in the beginning, I might be more inclined to want to just hit upper back, or maybe just hit lats, like with seated rows or, pull downs. Not that you don't get any lat activation in rows, but you get what I'm saying. So I think one or two here, good stretch, good squeeze, and then potentially be done. Honestly, I'm starting to feel pretty good already, but I might do some more too. Boy. Okay. One more. Okay. All right. I lied. I freaking lied. One more. It's so fucking sweet. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh my goodness. Let's finish with one more something, and then we can check this back pump. I think one set of pull downs ought to be good under. I haven't really done much It's directly lat bias movements. A lot of rows today. Okay. All right. Let's go check the back pump. That ended up being a good lift, despite a rather unfortunate start. All right. Exposure down 1.3. Oh, now let's see how we're looking. Ideally, obviously, we'd be sitting here going with a fucking chest pump. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna freaking do? Actually, I think one, there we go. A little bit too underexposed. Oh my goodness. Oh. Yeah, so, no bruising or anything, but right just about maybe in here, kind of lower pec, that's where it got me. Man, you know what I think it could have been? It could have been because that was a lower incline setting than I usually do. Usually I put it up to 3, but I've been lowering it to 2 so I can get more chest and less front delt. So maybe that was just too much weight in an angle that I'm just not used to. Honestly, I think that was probably it. But apart from that, just looking overall, dude, I feel pretty fucking carved up. Yeah. All right, let's see. Let's actually get into a lat spread. Yeah, right here. All right, from the front. Ooh. Certainly not dissatisfied with that. So I'm gonna go slam calves because I didn't do calves this morning with my cardio. And then we can get in the car, get a bunch of freaking food in my system. And apart from starting the recovery process for, my fucking lats and traps and everything else that just got destroyed, right? I'm definitely excited to get some food so this can jumpstart getting back to full strength. Luckily enough, well, obviously I'm not lucky for pulling my shit a little bit, but I am glad that it happened on a bulk and not on a cut. Whether or not this is legit, it just sort of makes sense. I mean, if you've got a ton of energy at your body's disposal, aka eating in a surplus, then your body has more energy to expend on repairing itself. You know what I'm saying? I was probably the last time I had a legit injury, not even gym related, was I cut my thumb. This little thumb pad, fucking like to the bone. I could see some muscles coming out of it. It was terrible. Reason being, improper cutting tool technique. But I was on a cut, and it was kind of the end of the cut. I was already like a month and a half, or like 2 months in. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, all right, cut over. Let's get some calories in my system so I can have energy to heal this fucker up and get back to doing what I like doing. Not that I was skipping the gym, of course, but your thumb kind of comes into play in a lot of important shit. So instead of being able to grab a dumbbell or grab a handle for pushdowns, I couldn't do any of that. Instead, I took and this is a tip for anybody with hand injuries of any variety or level of severity, right? Does not mean you're done. Does not mean you can't do your curls or your pushdowns or your presses. All you got to do, take a cable ankle attachment, right? The shit you usually put on your ankle and, you're going like this, right? Put that shit on your forearm, and then you can sit here, do curls like this, push downs like that. You can fucking do presses. That fucking saves me from having like a whole month of, it probably wouldn't be absolute loss of gains, But even if those workouts weren't necessarily optimal and like as good as I could do them, just getting blood flow in the area and actually exposing all my muscles to some tension, dude, that is fucking priceless. You got to remember, maintaining muscle is infinitely easier than building it and putting it on. So, you know, if your fucking quad, let's say you pulled some shit, knock on wood, there's none in here, but whatever, right? Do as much as you can do without hurting it, right? So if all you can do is light squeezing sets on the leg extension, I say do it. Just because getting that activation, it's going to maintain so much of your development and just keep you exposed to some fucking, well, weights. I guess that's all I'm really trying to say. So, bad start, good end. Let's get in the car. I mean, I'm going to go to calves, but for you, let's get in the car. All right. Before I actually get into the discussion, there's fucking 4 single-serve fireballs sitting in the parking lot next to my car. Now, I mean, you gotta remember, alcohol is technically a vasodilator, aka, you know, like citrulline, arginine, your nitric oxide, shit that's gonna improve your pump. But I'm not so certain that's a pre-workout I would recommend. I mean, look, I'll tell you this. If you combine any lifestyle with working out, in comparison to not working out and not exercising, you are better off. You are better off, for sure. But, I mean, if your goal is progress, it is most certainly in your best interest to limit anything that's going to be, you know, progress impairing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know if you're doing something conducive with your goals, and you know if you're doing something which is maybe not giving you a total setback, but which is at least, you know, not good for you. Right? I'm not your dad. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you know if you're doing something bad, right? We all know. Every kid knows when they take a little cookie out of the cookie jar, they're being bad. They know that's not what they're supposed to be doing. But enough of that. Enough of that little anti-drinking chat. Yeah. Not ideal. Not freaking ideal. But, yeah, what are you going to do? Felt nice and strong. Warm-ups felt good. Shit, man, that's my cue to do a good, hard, heavy set. Now, I don't 100% stand behind this. But the sentiment that I'm about to say, I do kind of stand behind it. You know, right? I said this before. Honestly, I say this every time I get hurt. I say some shit like, I'd rather get fucked up every so often than train like a pussy and never be injured. You know, those, at least very similar to those words, have come out of my mouth before. Which, yeah, I mean, really taking those words to heart, I would agree. I would much rather train the way I train than go in and do like, you know, 225 for a real slow, controlled set. Just get a little bit of a squeeze. It's, you know, but, right, there's a responsibility on my shoulders where I've got to, you know my limits, which over time as a lifter you should get better and better at. But, what are you going to do? If you're going hard, I mean, the occasional tweak, it's just part of the fucking game. I mean, how many lifts have I done since the last time I had a chest pull? Or any kind of really noticeable pull where I had to stop that particular muscle group? Dude, yeah. It's been like almost a whole year. Maybe early in the year I was doing, well, last Christmas I pulled my hamstring. So similar situation. No more hamstring that day. Had to take hamstrings off for a little while to let them build back up. But really, that's been it. So, I mean, what? That's like almost, that's like 365 lifts. There was definitely a couple rest days in there. So let's just say 350 to be sparse. And then, what, one pull, less than fucking, that's like 0.3% rate of tweaks. It doesn't sound good, but I mean, if you look at it like that percentage, you know, whatever. But, I'm probably just rationalizing getting hurt. This was totally a mistake on my end. Probably should have just said, wow, I haven't really benched, or I haven't felt this strong for a little while. Maybe I shouldn't try to really push it. That's really what I should have done. I should have just stayed at 365. But live and learn. Live and learn. Am I upset? Not really. Just part of the game. You got to remember, your only option is to act on whatever the moves or whatever the pieces are on your own specific board, right? So let's say fucking shit hits the fan in some way. There's no point crying over spilled milk, right? Assess, adjust, attack. So legs are good, back's good, chest not good, shoulders good, arms good. Lifts are just going to continue, and I'll wait maybe, well, I'll go by feel, of course, but I'll definitely ease back into chest as it gets back to 100%. So yeah, I guess we got to I mean, I'm still in chest mode. I'm not even thinking about the back pump. Yeah, it was a good back day. The rows were pretty basic, normal sets, real good stretch at the top. Those sets of seated cable rows, that's one thing which I do kind of think about. Like, I'm not so meticulous with having a perfectly straight back. Like, when I do those cable rows, if I were to keep my back perfectly straight the whole time, I don't know, man. I think I'd be limiting the stretch. I'm not saying on rowing movements it's a good idea to have a very rounded back. Do not take that as, the point I'm trying to get across. But, in the spirit of getting a real good stretch at the bottom, I don't mind a bit of what would that be? Spinal flexion? Spinal extension? Whatever. When it comes to something like bent over barbell rows, though, much more strict. You're not going to catch me doing a round back, or at least not very round back barbell rows. But with the cables, I like it. Just gives me a good stretch. And those cable rows slash pullovers, where I had the bench at like an incline, and I'm going like that, I really like that. Honestly, as an ender, or at least as a movement towards the end of my back days, I wouldn't mind if that showed up fucking on a liftly basis. I really like that movement. Because towards the end of back, like I was trying to say, right? Let's say I've already done some good rows, I've already done some good pull downs. I kind of want to just make sure I finish with a complete back pump. So doing a movement like that, where it sort of hits your whole back, I think it's perfect. Right? Good lat stretch, like I was saying in the bottom, and then a full fucking contraction in the back. Or the bottom. The top? Whatever. It's kind of funky. Talking about all this lift nomenclature. Either way, back pumped, chest on the road to recovery, and then nothing. Keep eating my food. Keep putting weight on the scale. We're good. I'm considering adding like severe chest injury to the thumbnail. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's fucking cheesy. But little I guess this is gonna turn into an injury talk just because it's fucking what's going down. But don't get too discouraged, man. And one thing which I stand behind this 100%. If you get a serious injury, do not stop lifting. Do not fucking stop. In no way is that going to do you any good, right? If you go from being like, maybe not daily, but week to week, consistent lifter, you're doing hard lifts, you're stimulating your freaking body. And let's say you fucking, obviously knock on wood here, but your knee fucking explodes. You get on a hoverboard and you snap your forearm. I'm not trying to put ideas into your head because I feel like I'm kind of asking for trouble by even saying this sort of stuff. But let's say some part of you is fucking not good. Cast level, brace level, boot level, shit like that. Right? Is it going to do you any good to just stop working out? Stop stimulating your metabolism? Stop keeping you or slow down the RPMs on your engine, I do not say so, man. If that kind of shit happened to me, sure, whatever lift is being hindered, of course it's got to be hindered, got to recover. But everything else, I'm going to keep pushing it as hard as I fucking can. I really, it just doesn't make sense, man. Because let's say somebody got something pretty hurt and they just stopped everything. Bedridden style, they're not lifting anymore, they're not doing anything, they just sit around. Him compared to another dude in his exact situation who still goes in and does as much work as he can, maybe if it's just even cardio or a little bit of weights everywhere else, once they're both going to recover in a very similar amount of time. Honestly, if anything, I think the guy who's still working out, the fact that his metabolism is going to be higher up, he'll be able to get more food through his system and have more energy at his body's disposal, he's going to recover faster. So, and this isn't fucking a medical statement. I'm just saying what I think, whatever. But at the end of however long that recovery period is, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, the guy who's been keeping up with his work, the guy who's been making sure his body's still running, his engine's still revving, he's still breaking sweats on the daily, he's just going to be able to jump back into it like nothing. If he's got a treadmill that's on fucking 5 miles an hour, then he just gets to hop right on it and get jogging. Whereas the dude who hasn't been doing all his shit, he's just been fucking laying around, he's got to start that treadmill back up at zero and warm himself back up into it. And then, and it's going to take a little extra longer, and then he'll get back into it. Right? So that's what I say there. So if you know somebody, fucking something happened, not ideal, wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy, get him in the gym, man. Get him doing something, right? To be just, just sitting around, it's not going to do you any good. It never will. Oof. I think that's pretty much all I got to say there. I'm going to go stop at Chipotle, get 9 soft tacos, steak, cheese, white rice, and queso. That's pretty much my go-to meal. Total waste of money, though. I should just make it myself. But whatever. So get your lifts in. Push yourself as hard as you can without hurting yourself. But if you do, work around it and keep going fucking hard. So I'll see you tomorrow for what was going to be back, but is now going to be arms and forearms. I may end up taking another day or like adding another day of some other kind of accessory muscle, just because I don't think my legs are going to be recovered in 2 days. I can still really feel them from yesterday. So maybe it'll be a fucking, I don't know. I don't know what the lift after tomorrow is going to be. I know tomorrow's is going to be arms, but after that, fuck man, who knows? Maybe I'll just do hamstrings and save quads for the next day. Do whatever. But like I was saying, food, sleep, cardio, arms tomorrow, and repeat. Now, unlike the outro last night, this was not necessarily the perfect day for a lifter, but you wake up, you go to the gym, you get a pump, and you leave, you get your macros in. Hey man, that still sounds pretty good to me. So I will see you next time.